Hello, I'm Eric Meeks, broker owner of Remax Desert Properties in Palm Springs and Indian Wells, along with my wife Tracy. And today I wanted to share with my YouTube viewing audience about a thing that I do with agents, and it's called the Agent Uplift Review. And what it's really about is I wrote increasing here your digital footprint, but let's call it maximizing your digital footprint, because that's really what this is about. I strongly believe that every agent needs to have the best possible digital footprint of who they are and what they do as an agent. And I'm going to walk you through kind of how I review an agent and then how myself and staff help that agent, oftentimes simply doing the work for them, but sometimes agents prefer to take this on their own either way. But with the information that we can give them with a really solid review of their digital footprint, they're usually amazed at how much stronger we can make them appear online. And then that will translate over the months and years ahead into a greater amount of business. And we'll talk about that as we go through this. So let me move this to the side. Okay, put it up here. Okay, so this is the Agent Uplift Review, because once we review an agent, then we do the implementation at the agent's choice. So if I bring up like social media, okay, this is my YouTube channel, taking a look at it. If you haven't been to it, I recommend that you take a look at it. But basically, I have a ton of videos, and I know I'm better than the average bear, okay, in this regards. But there are people who are better than me, okay? So I don't let me toot my horn too much, but I hope you take a look at it. Most people are more familiar with Facebook, okay? And this is what my Facebook page looks at when I'm looking at it. And I'm sure that just about everybody watching this has some form of their page up and going themselves. Let me click on it this way. Okay, this is more the feed that people are used to when they go to my page, okay, with it. And they'll go through, they'll take a look at my post, recently wrote a book, all that kind of stuff, videos. I saw fire the other day, my kids work in the office, whatever. Okay, so we have our personal Facebook page, but then we also have, many of us have a business Facebook page, which Facebook more and more wants us to have so that they can figure out ways to make money off us by advertising and stuff like that. But it's a very important part of many agents' overall digital profile. Some are using it more than others, but it is part of it. And then a lot of people are on Instagram these days. We have that. Okay, a lot of us are on LinkedIn. Okay, so we have that one. Let's see if I can bring it up here. There we go. Okay, so the Instagram page. Now, oftentimes, though, agents feel like they're lost out in the wind, they're caught in the forest, and they're totally on their own, and they don't know how to do. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of videos and internet gurus all telling them they should do different things. So before I like to make any suggestions to anybody, I like to do what's called the Agent Uplift Review. And by the way, I know there's other social media. You could do Twitter, you could do Pinterest, you could do, I can even list them all. Okay, the more, and we will take each of those into account based on that individual agent's desire for where they would like to market themselves. So I'm going to move this one aside, and we're going to move this one over. Okay. This is the meat and potatoes, as I like to call it. Let me move this one over here, just off a little bit. There we go. Okay, what you have before you here, okay, this is, as you can see, the Agent Uplift Review. Okay, start with the agent's name. This picture here, by the way, if you're not familiar with it, that's Bob Alexander, who was the builder of many of the Alexander homes. Him and his dad, okay, built the Alexander homes. So I'm just using that here. Generally, I'll have an agent's picture right there so I can keep in mind who they are. And then we just start with some basic information like their email addresses, their phone numbers, where the agent would like the most help, extremely important. And then I start going through when did they start with us, what board do they belong to. I take a quick look at their numbers, okay, a production over the last 2 years. I find it's important to do that so we can see a trend of where they're going with their business. And then I start off, because I'm doing this with a Remax agent, I start off with their Remax profile, on both Mac Center, which is our back end that helps them build flyers and postcards and e-newsletters and all of that kind of thing, do digital advertising very simply, and then the Remax.com profile, okay, which is where they're oftentimes most discoverable because Remax.com spends so much money on marketing the corporate website. Their profile on that, if somebody were to search Eric Meeks Realtor, that's probably going to be the number one that shows up. Okay. Now we also have a global website, okay, and then our company website, which is remaxdp.com. Let me go back to that here. Okay, remaxdp.com. And notice that on all these things, there are some similarities. And this is where it gets into the strength of the agent and how they are presenting themselves online. I believe that you need to have the same profile, the same bio, the same picture, everything everywhere. Because the more that you have this repeating of information, okay, the stronger it's going to make the prospective clients out there feel that you are who you said you were. They probably met you at, I always say this, the supermarket, church, the dog park, wherever it is, your kid's school, somewhere, okay, that you ran into them. And then if they like you and you like them, you give them a card, and then they go home. And if they were at all serious, they Google you. So based on that, okay, we need to make sure that the agents have not just one profile that shows up, but as many profiles as possible that can be found easily by the viewing public. Because when somebody does that, if they end up having a lot of them, and just to show you here, now, of course, I have a ton, okay, because I've been doing this a decade, but it is actually more than a decade. It's closer to 15 years now, and doing business online for closer and closer to 30 years. But if you do even me, just Eric Meeks, you have a combination of stuff of Eric Meeks, the realtor, Eric Meeks on social media. I include the G, by the way, for me, because there are other Eric Meekses in the country. There's like an attorney in Tennessee. There's a lower ranking Broadway actor. Okay, there's a golf pro who usually hits in around the bottom of the top 100, but still a very good golfer. Okay, so to separate me from some of the other Eric Meekses in the world, I include the G, okay, just to give me an identity. So I do this with each of our agents, okay, and go through and search them out. And let's see how easy they are to find. And then based on that, I go through and I make sure that their name, okay, is correctly spelled on sites. And when I say me, I'm including staff. We have a couple of staff people now that are trained in this. I make sure they have a nice quality photo. Their license number is there. Their bio is where it should be and nicely worded, okay? And this one here gets a little more complex, but an IDX link, because their listings and past sales should be showing on these profiles. And most of them allow for an IDX link, but I'll tell you, that's probably the number one thing that agents don't get around to that could be done. And that's probably the number one thing that as staff, we can help them. If they have any reviews, we want to make sure they're the best possible reviews and that they have a pattern for their new clientele, because when they come on board with Remax, they generally see an increase in sales. So we want to make sure that every one of those gets a request for a review so that that can make sure and show up on their websites. And their awards. More than half of our agents here at Remax Desert Properties are award-winning agents. And when you join a group like that, just the culture that you'll find yourself surrounded with will probably elevate you, if you're not yet an award-winning agent, to soon become one, say in your first year or two, somewhere in there. Lastly, we want to make sure there's social media, right? Because a lot of what we're going to be talking about here is their social media. It's a combination of the Remax sites, your MLS site, the top real estate sites like Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com, Realtor.com, your social media, your personal websites. I get my fingers a little. That's 5 right there. And then we look at farms and e-newsletters and stuff like that. And all of these things gives a very comprehensive digital and marketing footprint. Okay, so we go, Remax Global is our international site. Remax DP is our local site, the one that Tracy and I built for the agents. Remax Referrals is one of the back-end services that Remax gets, where agent-to-agent referrals, there might be one from Chicago or the East Coast or Vancouver or wherever in the world that has somebody coming to Palm Springs and things, hey, in a year or two, they're going to retire. So would you mind showing our clients a property? And the answer is, of course not. We'd love to. Okay, we get a couple of those too, but the agents who have the best profiles tend to get more of them. So I want to make sure that all of our agents are plugged in as best as possible to receive the benefits of being an agent with us. Some of this stuff that I'm going over, any agent out there in the world can do. And it doesn't matter if you're Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, or if you're an independent broker agent. Okay, you can do a lot of what I'm going to talk here. Remax just has some extra tools that pushes many of our agents further up the food chain. Now, so here we went through the Remax and our local sites. On page 2 of this, okay, this is where we start going through referral exchange as a second referral network that we have. But let's go more towards Google Business. Okay, many agents do not have a Google Business page. And if we swing this back right here, remember when we searched Eric Meeks? Now, I did not include the word realtor or Remax, so it pulled up my Google Business page for me as an author. But if I added realtor to that, let's see, Remax Desert Properties, I get my company page because I am Remax Desert Properties now. Let's see if that changes if I do it with Remax. Okay, so I can use it. It's going to give us the option to go back to Remax Desert Properties. Okay, but that's okay. I am not trying to grow my business as a realtor anymore. I'm trying to grow my agent's business. So I want the people who are looking for me to be directed to the company and we can handle them as in-house leads for the agents. I also want the agents to be able to generate their own leads because that's where they make the most money and that's where they generally have the best connection right off the bat with a new client because the client is calling them direct. And there's a reason that client, if the profiles are built well, if they include what we call lifestyle pictures and interesting aspects of that agent's life, then the people that call them are going to have similar interests and already feel good about the agent. So therefore, the conversation just starts off more warm and fuzzy. And don't we all love that as agents that when somebody calls us and they talk to us like they already know us, and yes, we're interested in buying a house or selling a house, and can you help us? Is that not the ideal call? Well, this is all part of my strategy to create a funnel of dream clients for individual agents. So I really take into effect who they are and what's interesting and unique about that agent, and then help them build out their profiles to reflect that. And the return advantage will be a stream of clients that are easier to close and more fun to deal with. So the Google Business page, we want to make sure that they have that set up because that's a very nice placement on any sort of search involving that agent. And then we want to make sure that their Zillow.com, their Trulia.com, their Homes.com, their Realtor.com, those are the top 4 non-branded real estate websites where every agent can have a profile. And we want to make sure that they're designated areas, okay, for where they like to work, their photo, their name, their bio, their license number, all of those things are good. Their social media is connected, okay? I'd like to know whether or not they're buying leads, not something that I strongly recommend. I have done it myself, but I find it's very expensive and a low closing percentage, but I have seen some agents do that better than me. I'd like to know if they link back to our company website because I want to link to their profiles too, and I'd like a return link. Okay, it allows the spiders that index these things to give both of us a benefit from that. And then some of the newer places I'm seeing pop up is HomeSnap and HomeLight, and I'm sure there are more that we can keep looking at these. But I think you're kind of getting the gist of what we do. It other lead gen sites that we have down here. And then thirdly, but just as important, okay, we start taking a look at social media sites. So we really want to take a look at how well displayed they are for their picture, for their banner image, make sure their license number, especially if it's their business page. If it's their personal page, not as important. But if they are doing business posts on there, we might want to include that. And we want to look at the quantity of business posts a week that they're doing and the quantity of personal posts a week, because I believe there should be a 1 to 5, 1 to 10 ratio with it being, especially on a personal page, primarily personal stuff. Talk about your dog and your kids and your hobbies and hiking or whatever it is you do in life, a recent graduate or whatever it is. That's what people want on your personal page. Every now and then, every fifth, every 10th posting, remind them that you're also a realtor. And they'll just say, hey, way to go, keep it up, that kind of thing. Or, ooh, cool. You'll get those kind of comments, which are always fun and nice. But it's a way of just keeping yourself front of mind that if they ever had a real estate need, you can do it. If you do too much business posting on Facebook, you'll eventually end up in Facebook jail where they will lock down your account for a week or two. So be gentle with that there. I do like, especially for our agents, to like our Facebook company page, because that allows us, when we post a listing of theirs, we can share it to them. So in this way, we can support the agents by putting their listings on there, or if it's a neutral, something that was generated by the company or something, or by Tracy and myself, which happen rarely, but as often as I can, I want to allow the agents to pretend, especially the newer agents or the up-and-coming agents like this, who feel they don't have as much business to promote, okay, that I want to share those postings that we can with them on their pages just to help them out and give them a leg up and help remind their friends and family that, yeah, that person is an agent with RE/MAX also, and therefore they deserve to be thought about when real estate needs crop up. Amongst those circle of friends. And then we look at the Facebook business page. And again, we're looking at quantity of posts and how they're displayed and all of those there. And as I think you're starting to get the gist, when we do it with Instagram, with YouTube, with Twitter, with LinkedIn, and with Nextdoor, these are all other sites and nobody does them all. Okay, so don't think we're going to push you to be overburdened, okay, with social media postings. That's simply not going to happen. But on the ones you're doing, are you doing them well? Is there an area that we could help you out? Could we give you just a freshen up, kind of a facelift, okay, on your social media? So we take a look at all of that, and then we also take a look if you have websites. Many agents have bought a domain name and either have like a profile site, or they've built, and spent some money and built a nice site. So we take a look at that, because oftentimes these things become aged. Did I say that clearly? Aged. And they haven't been updated in months or years, okay? And so we kind of do a review of them. And then lastly, we do the same thing, taking on whether or not they're on a team and what's that team look like. Are they doing any farming? Okay, and if so, what's the quantity? What's the, not just the quantity of homes, but how frequent are they mailing to them? Have they built a neighborhood website, okay, for that farm? Are they doing any events? Exactly what are they doing to reach out to the homes other than just sending a postcard? Okay, which I believe that they need to be doing YouTube videos. They need to come up with a charity or some sort of annual or biannual drive that can be done with it. There are multiple things that an agent can do in order to strengthen up their farm. And then an e-newsletter. One of the things that I did early on in my real estate life that really helped me generate new business. And it's a huge thing to me. And if so, what's their database look like? How many people are there? How often are they sending it out? What's the content that they're sending out? All of those types of things. And then lastly, a print media AdWords campaign. I could probably even say Google AdWords, etc. Okay, with that there, and just kind of take a look. There we go. Take a look at their, I know we're getting into non-digital here, but it's an area that deserves some attention, okay, when we're doing this type of a review. So we take it into it. And you might have noticed that on some of these, okay, I even have the word score, because I believe that we are moving towards being able to come up with a numerical value as we're doing this. It's an aspect of it that I'm still working on, and it would allow for a conversation starter and just a general review appraisal that would allow for a conversation like, well, you're pretty good in some areas, you've got some good basics up and going, but you only scored a 62 on your overall Uplift review. And the general response, if that were the case, would be, Well, what does that mean? In which case, then we could go through, well, your Facebook business page hasn't been updated since the end of 2021. It's now April of December of 2020. It's now April of 2021. Twitter, you haven't been on in a year. You've never done a YouTube video, and you've had plenty of listings even that you should have shot at them. So you can see where I'm going with this. That allows for a discussion with an agent so that if they are amenable to implementing the next step, they can either do it themselves or we can assist. Because much of this, I mean, other than the necessary personal posts that they have to do themselves, when it comes to the more static things like a banner image, a headshot, making sure their contact information is correct, those things can be done as a one-time shot, and that's something that staff is brilliant at. Secondly, we can look at implementing the things that we as a local office or the things that RE/MAX corporate offers so that we can put data into their news feeds on these that they approve of, and thereby making it as easy as possible on the agent so that they've always got fresh, good content that's really Coachella Valley centric and real estate centric, okay, that their readers and members and subscribers and followers and friends and family and all that would find beneficial. Because when we hit that connection point of having the agent providing beneficial content to their sphere of influence, that's when we start seeing leads being generated. And ultimately, that's the goal. I mean, besides wanting to show our agents as capable, fully functioning agents able to jump in at a moment's notice and make, save, or create a deal, having that long-range goal of effectiveness and proficiency capability is huge, okay, to maintaining agents front of mind so that they can get those warm inbound calls of people saying, yeah, you know, I was thinking about this. I saw your last posting on Facebook, blah, 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 and I was hoping that we could discuss. Do you have a minute? And again, isn't that the phone call that we all want to create? So a lot of what I have discovered in my last 25 to 30 years of being online is ways to increase the probability of getting those warm inbound calls. And when I was doing this myself as an agent, as my best, I was probably selling 5 to 6 extra deals a year off just 1 or 2 channels. Even still, without putting as much effort towards my personal clientele base, I still sell 2 to 3 while I'm managing and helping everybody else increase their own. So any of those numbers, I know those are not the wow, you know, the panacea, they have to do it, but who doesn't want an extra half dozen deals a year? Every agent I know would love to have it. An extra deal every other month over what they're doing right now. For many people, that is a life changer. And when you figure that the average commission is somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000 these days, okay, if you figure a $350,000 house to $500,000 house, and if you've got a 2.75% commission, that means you're somewhere in that $6,000 to $10,000, okay, in there. And if you did an extra 5 or 6 of those a year, isn't that somewhere between 36 and 60,000 extra dollars a year? Especially as we hit the $60,000 mark there, that's more than some people earn in a year. So the agents that work with me find these things of great benefit, and I hope that you do too. I'm kind of wrapping up near the end here. I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? But I think I pretty well got it. Oh, here's I could show this one other thing here. A lot of what we're doing these days at RE/MAX Desert Properties, we're cross-promoting. And so we're looking at ways right now to boost up our agent's profile. And this is a JPEG that I made from our company website. And as you can see, we're adding in things. If you go there right now, you won't see all of these buttons right here. Okay, but the link to see their remax.com just got put on there. The next thing we're doing is we're implementing in their social media. And we're just looking at ways, because some agents already, most of them aren't doing 5 or 6 like this, but say an agent had 1, 2, or 3. They might have a Facebook, an Instagram, and maybe a Facebook business page. Okay, something. Okay, they might only have 1. But whatever it is they're doing, wouldn't they love an additional platform that it could be broadcast to as a way where people could find them easily review their content and go, I like that guy or I like that gal. Yeah, I think I'm going to give them a call. That's what we're doing here at RE/MAX Desert Properties. It's all part of the Agent Uplift review. It's all part of the Agent Uplift program and implementation of these things. And soon to come, we're even going to be showing some of the social media feeds on the site itself. But we're always trying to work and improve and help our agents to do the same. So let me get this over here. Okay, so there you have it. My name's Eric Meeks. I hope I've sparked your interest in some ways. If I've hit anything that you have a question on or you need help with, please give me a call. My phone number is probably somewhere in the information below. If not, Google me. As you see, I'm very easy to find. Take care, have a good day, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching The Realtor Guy on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please like and subscribe to this channel. We release new videos just about every week with helpful tips for real estate agents in the Palm Springs area and around the world. Thanks again for watching. I'm Eric Meeks, The Realtor Guy, signing off.